Hello, I'm Denise, and I have your readings all ready, but I wanted to give you a heads up and let you know that you may want to check out the other readings that would cover your moon and your ascendant, as well as your sun. That way you have a bigger perspective over the opportunities coming your way for the month. Okay, let's get started. All right, this reading is for Scorpio, sun, moon, and ascendant, and it's covering March 29th through April 4th. So the theme we have for the week is the Seven of Wands here. This will be the theme for overlay, but may also absolutely be something that comes up more on Wednesday than any other of the days. So we're looking here at the beginning of the week, midweek. So I'm going to say like Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, in that direction. And so the Seven of Wands is about protecting your space. This card has come up in just about every reading, yes, for all the signs so far, in at least 1 week. And it seems to be coming up very often, for all signs. So, as well as the Two of Swords. So the way I'm reading that is that it is what we are going through while we're facing the possibility of a challenging health situation with the possible pandemic that's going on, or maybe by the time this video airs it will actually be one. So we're all making decisions to protect ourselves in an entirely new way. Unless you're a healthcare professional, that's a normal way of being for you. EMTs, firefighters, and healthcare professionals, first responders, they know how to take care of themselves and protect from germs. But the rest of us are learning, and so it puts us to start out. It puts us in a bit of a vulnerable position. It's not fun, but we have to do it. We have to protect our homes. We have to protect our own personal health, and of course our children and loved ones are extremely important. And so there's that. But on another level, it's a very creative card because all the wands are also creative. So it's about focusing on what your priorities are, and you're vulnerable, but you can also protect yourself. You can also put your protective bubble around you here. Energetically, so that you can focus on what's important and do what's important, which is where we come into with the Emperor. He is a doer. He gets things done, and then he can sit back and relax. Sometimes he does sit back and relaxes just to think things through. He's the ultimate strategizer. Well, he along with the King of Swords, but King of Swords, but also, and all the kings actually, but pretty much, he really wants his protected space. He really wants literally the four corners of his reality. The perimeter, the perimeter is protected is kind of his motto. So whether you're male or female or any, however you identify, that doesn't matter. If this is the energy and consciousness of protecting your space and those that you love, and there's a lot of with the King of Cups, like blending that energy, because this will push through the entire week, and this may even be a little bit of an overlay of the last week in March, even though we're starting the 29th, but prior to, we've all been in this place where we are literally revamping the way that we protect our space, protect our homes and families. And the King of Cups is a very family-oriented card, but he's also doctors, therapists, veterinarians, anyone that cares deeply, and it doesn't have to be male or female. I don't read the cards that way. I just read that the kings are a little more structurally based than the queens. So the queens can be more nurturing, where the kings are like, okay, we got to do this, and we're going to do it this way, and then we can always revamp and change. But with the King of Cups, there is a really high level of emotional intelligence and sensitivity, deep, deep sensitivity. And always, like tuning in. So I actually love this together as well. The whole week looks really good to me. But I love this, taking control of the space and then being sensitive to your surroundings and sensitive in a more expansive way than you've been before, because yes, we are in the midst of social distancing, but that doesn't mean that we're not sensitive to what's going on in the rest of the world, because when you're this sensitive, you're this emotionally developed, you feel connected with, you can relate to everybody on the planet because you have a good relationship with yourself, and it all works from the inside out. So relationship with the self expands into more of a fine-tuned relationship with others. So the King of Cups will help. That sensitivity will help. This protection, this protective energy and consciousness that you're carrying, and the opportunity to be even more sensitive will bring you through to a very protected place where you can focus on priorities. And there could be some creative innovation that comes in here, some new ideas to make it easier to protect your space. And then towards the end of the week, there's, to me, the Two of Swords is all about free will. Now, albeit there's, the blindfolds here, right? And it seems like ideas are kind of tied up and she's not sure which way to go. But it's the process of making decisions. It's the process of it's really about why you make decisions and how you choose to make decisions. Now, if you decide to not, if you go into one of those rabbit holes where you decide, well, I'm just not going to make a choice. I'm just going to be a victim, and I'm going to let myself, I'm just going to go with it. You have to know that that's also a decision. To not make a decision is also a decision, but it does not put you in the place of power here. You want to be in the place of power. You want to be sensitive to the situation that's going on, and you're going to want to protect yourself in creative, innovative ways that make you feel safe. Okay? So with the Two of Swords, the best decisions come from a necessity, right? A need to make things better, a need for things to be different. And so the thing I really want to reinforce here is that if you make the wrong decision and it turns into a mistake, it's not really a mistake. It's just a stepping stone. It's just a learning, step. It's a learning part of the learning curve. And then you can, if that's what happens, then you can move on and look at, there's got to be another way. We can get into, what is the rest of the world doing? How are other people handling it when they travel? We don't want to travel because we're trying to protect everyone else, and but maybe we're thinking of a trip in the future, or there's a decision to not travel now, but the planning ahead. Even in a couple of years. Like, let's say you want to plan a trip to Europe or something in a couple of years, or Australia, or wherever it is. This can be off into the future. This can carry through. Now, another way that the Two of Wands can play out is when you're not sure what you want. I often get this card when I'm trying to figure out what do I really want. To me, the question is, that card says, what do you really want? Okay, so again, you come back to, what are my priorities? Do I feel safe, venturing out too far nowadays? What is the truth of the situation? Maybe I need to do more research, although I don't really see a lot of research cards here, other than it's always a good idea to research, I think. That's how you can make the best decisions. That way you have an informed choice going on. So, but honestly, this week I see more of an intuitive flow here. The Emperor moves from instinct. Like he knows how to protect, and he's like, kind of just jumping in and doing it if need be. Like he'll jump in and protect. And the King of Cups is very sensitive. So coming from, like, let's say some protective love, we create a stronger boundary, and then we can decide from there how to proceed, right? Like once you have the safety net of your home and maybe you're working from home, right? Or maybe you've got some time off and you kind of don't know what you want to do with all the spare time. That may very well be the case for some of you. So feel free to leave me comments and let me know how the week went for you. I'd love to hear. Okay, I'll be right back with week 2. All right, this will cover April 5th through the 11th. And the theme for the week is the King of Wands here. I think it's going to be a very active week. This is a go for it type of card. The only caution is to not rush into things, but the energy is so positive. All the other cards are so positive. I think that it is definitely one of those weeks where you can just go with your instincts. Now, patience is needed because the Temperance card here definitely speaks to patience. It also speaks to joining forces with like-minded people and anyone else you feel passionate about, or anyone that you just are enthused with, interested in. Especially within the beginning of the week with the Knight of Cups here. Sometimes these are like the knights in shining armor that come in to help out, and they really care. There's a lot of caring energy with the cups here. The only downside with the Knight of Cups is just to be careful that you're not manipulated, by a smooth talker, fast talker kind of a thing. But if you're, as long as you're careful and cautious and don't fall, for something that's, well, then again, who am I to judge? I mean, if it's something that's right, you just, if you feel called and you're in your inner strength and it feels right, you go for it. But this definitely is the energy of, Eros and the erotic force coming through. Now, it also, another way it can play out is just, like I was saying before, that it's about caring. Like, do we have everything we need, right? Like, here, see the little picnic basket here, and of course there's a little love note, but there's the energy of really caring about the way things are, and caring about carrying you through a situation. So it's very, very possible that someone comes into your life, and it doesn't have to be a male, it can definitely be female, but that there are people around you that care, deeply for your well-being, and that you're taken care of in a way that makes you feel balanced and full of your normal, beautiful, lovely light that Scorpios are known for. I think all the signs are known for that, but Scorpios have an intensity and a passion that's quite unique. So, with the Temperance, the other thing that I want to say about that is, I noticed we have the angel wings here. We're definitely dealing with, archangel energy. And I always look at this card as being the law of mutuality, where two forces come together, and because they're both positive, they're it's like two yeses coming together, and it creates a third thing, a third, like a holy triad, if you will, or you guys will have to tell me if there's a better way to explain that, but I just see it as kind of, like as above, so below. It can be, the present, past, and future, but it all comes together to transmute into an even better form. You know, in the ancient ways of looking at tarot, the original, it was about alchemy, like the joining together of certain metals to create gold. But I see it as the soul substance here, the ability to always shift and change and to free up more life force in the body. Because the Temperance card follows the Death card, which is never really death. It's just, you know, big changes. And they come through, you know, a million little ego deaths that we all go through in our lifetime, where we're actually coming into a healthy ego, a very developed ego, where, you know, we're not acting from... We're not reacting. Reacting is a better way to put it, from the past. And we're able to pause and go slowly and then create the future that we want from there, rather than being stuck in the past and reacting. Oh, God, that's, you know, it always happens to me, right? You know, like you get into those places where, what is going on? It's this again? You know, so it's about letting go of that. And when you let go of those situations, then the energy clears and there's more available life force in your body, which is a really wonderful experience to have. So it's about freeing up and letting go of what doesn't work and coming into what does work, and then opening to the expansion of how much positive pleasure there actually can be in life. So I love that card, and I'll say more about it in the future if I you know, something else comes through. But for this week, I want to get into the Strength card here, because that's a beautiful. I mean, both of these two for major arcanas in 1 week is really phenomenal. So if we're finally tuned in to our feelings, and we're in that, you know, caring place and carrying it through the rest of the week, we're going to know which way to go, and we're going to have a lot of life force flowing through us in order to carry us through in our courage. With the lion here in the background, I'm getting the message of, you know, and this is a Leo card as well, but, you know, here we have a lot of lion energy, and to me that's always about courage, right? And it can be the protective love. You know, there's a lot of courage in protective love. You know, like, what else will get you to stand up and roar, right? So from that place of trusting your instincts, you know, he's got a salamander here, and it's on his t-shirt, and the salamander represents the regenerative, regeneration that can always go on, that can always happen, that just continues to go on and on, like the way, you know, a salamander loses its tail and it grows a new one. So it never ends. We're talking, you know, divine forces here, so they don't end. They keep transmutating into the highest level of consciousness. So in the highest levels of consciousness, when we come into the Strength card, we're talking about inner strength. We're talking about coming from your heart and your core in an area that's so pure that you can afford to be gentle with everyone. That there's an infinite, see the little infinity symbol up here? There's an infinite amount of love and power in the universe that is inside of each one of us. Every single being has infinite love inside of them. That's who they really are. The divine intelligence of the universe is within each of us. So moving from that place of inner strength, then the rest of the week, and this is, you know, I always look at these openings as being something you just keep with you forever. Once you're open, you're open. And now we can go back and forth in states of expansion and contraction for a while, and that's painful usually when we're going through it, but later on it balances out. And then the highs aren't so high and the lows aren't so low. And as long as you're not, you know, in a stagnant place, you are growing. You're actually stabilizing within your soul substance. There's a stability that happens. The balance is more, you know, notice these balls of light are not up here, they're not up above his head, they're down, they're in his body, and they're surrounding him. So it's about balancing out the so-called, dualistic nature that it is a dualistic planet, but inside of us, we are unitive beings. So that's what we hold on to. Even though we're having a dualistic experience, we hold on to the place where we know what 100% positive pleasure is, where we know that it's all one inside of each of us. It's all one. We're all connected. So even though it's hard to connect with some people because they haven't gotten to that place inside of them where they're connected to themselves, and if that's the case, you just love them and go in a different direction if you want. But yeah. So towards the end of the week, the Nine of Pentacles is literally in luxury. The Nine of Pentacles is about having, this could be like the nth degree, the 10th is even more, but then, 9 is very full. And with Pentacles, it's all about the material realm. So it's nature, it's abundance, it's resources, and she has, you notice how she has, like the wall of a garden behind her, and like the containment up here of nature. So it can be very much about staying home in your backyard and noticing what a beautiful space you've had and you didn't realize it. Or even if it's just, even if you live in an apartment and you have a little patio, or even if you don't have a back patio, you have a little tiny front porch, whatever it is, you can put a plant there. You can have something that, like maybe, birds will come and visit, and this is like, the falcon, so that it's more about focusing on your material abundance is the message here. But it could be like a little hummingbird that comes in, and, just nature that comes in to say hi. But anyway, focusing on your abundance, it's a card of being truly, truly grateful for all that you have. And of course, when you're grateful, you create more. You actually are open to receive more because you're in the true state of abundance. And that's how you create more abundance. You don't create abundance from lack. If you're focusing on what you don't have, you're just going to get more of that, the not having. If you focus on all that you do have, more of what you have will come in and be even more solid in your life, something you can really count on. With the Nine of Pentacles, it's what we can really count on. But of course, it's all inside. Everything's an inside job. I'll say that a million times. So let's see. Yeah, I think that's all I have for now. Okay, I'll be right back with week 3. Okay, this week we'll cover April 12th through the 18th. And I love that the Queen of Wands is the theme for the week because she's all about being in the powerful position of creating whatever it is that she wants. It's the energy of receiving everything you need, from knowing that the universe is there for you, and receiving everything that you need. It's like she can bring it down, right? Like as above, so below. She can bring anything down into her hands. When it comes to creating, a more of a peaceful, relaxing atmosphere, she's one of the best. She's with the little cat here to help her stay calm and connected. And, she's literally on a sea of candles. The light is just all around her. So she's full of passion and creativity and self-confidence. So I feel like this week will be, one of those weeks where you feel more confident. But that may be because you've come from a place of knowing what the essential needs are of the situation. And of course, we're all going through it. This is the card of creating really safe boundaries, healthy boundaries, and checking on your resources, and you have to be careful with the hoarding energy. But I'm sure that's not where you guys would come from. But you may notice that in the world, and you may not understand, why people would do that, because to you it's a burden, right? Like why need to, why would anybody need to do that? Like wipe out all the, toilet paper on the planet? That's just insane. So you maybe have been witnessing that, and you've created some ways to release any burdens that you may have had. You've been able to delegate. These two cards together are all about delegating, because at some point it's too much, and it gets you in touch with, your priorities. Really, truly your priorities. But with the preceding, the Four of Pentacles coming before it, tells me that the priorities were already known, and the limitations are there, but you're aware of it, but you're going to be careful, and you're going to, you might not be one of those that are out there buying up all the toilet paper, but you're going to probably, try to have a little extra on hand rather than you normally would, which is normal. But to balance out the two, so there's not a burden, so it doesn't weigh heavily on you, just to trust that the universe will provide somehow the innovation. Now, if we're in the realm here of dealing with, just imagine how you could apply this to the creativity that's coming up nowadays for getting all the medical, uniforms, masks and the protective gear that all of the nurses and doctors and any clinicians, all of the things that are needed to stay safe and protected in the medical field. With pending shortages, we're getting more and more creative as to where it's going to come from and how, or like if you're in New York, I guess there's the governor put out the statement that if you create it, he'll pay for it. Whatever they need. If anybody can come forward and create it, he'll get a contract to go on for you, and you'll be paid. So that's primarily what this card is all about: is the innovative, creative, forces that will get us out of this like nightmare kind of a situation, but bring in more justice. Another way that we could look at this is that we're being tested to not worry so much, to trust that if we're not the hoarding type of individuals, then it shouldn't affect us. It is about being more careful about what supplies and resources we have on hand, but when it all comes down to it, we'll find that there are people there for us, and we're not alone, and we don't have to go into worry. We can focus on the white dove of peace up here, and let the worry and the headaches go, and from there we'll be in a much more balanced position. By the end of the week, we should feel much more balanced, and that will come if you've been in some self-reflection and honored, yourself by going inside and facing your fears, right? The Nine of Swords comes after the Eight of Swords. So the Eight of Swords, in the evolution of that suit, that elemental suit, has to do with ideas and beliefs and false beliefs. So when the Eight of Swords, it's a bit of a restrictive energy, and then if it gets worse, if it's not cleared out, then it comes into your nightmare, kind of a nighttime situation where you just, it might be where you're really busy during the day, working, you're overwhelmed even, and you've been working really hard in the creative, needs that you're faced with. And then when it comes to nighttime, you don't even realize that you're so exhausted that you haven't had much time to self-reflect, and so you're kind of spinning. And if you can let go of that, if you can go into your day, if you can focus on this week, the best guidance I could say is to self-reflect, lots of deep breathing and letting go, delegate as much as you can and get rid of what doesn't need to be carried. This is definitely about letting go of responsibilities that are not yours to carry. And then from there, you can have some healthy boundaries, letting go of the unessential, ridiculous things that are not yours to be dragging along. Let go of any baggage and be with your creative source inside, your creative core. And if you can do that, you don't have to worry. If you're working hard enough on your creative core coming through, there's nothing to worry about. To me, in my life, what's happened, if I've been in a position of worry, I realize I'm not really working. I need to work more rather than worry about it, or work on whatever it is that I was worrying about. You need to face your fears. That's what the Eight of Swords coming before the Nine of Swords will be when we haven't faced our fears. Our fears are up to deal with, and if we don't face them, we will come to the Nine of Swords. So that's why I'm saying I think this week will have been so busy that the time to self-reflect will be specifically what needs to happen. And that's further... it's further reinforced here with the Justice card being that the balance in your soul, the balance in your soul substance is what's the most important. And no matter what kind of a difficult day or difficult week you've had, to come back to the place where you can stay centered, whatever it takes to get you balanced, whether it's, tubs, hot showers, long soak in the tub, hot tub, jump in the pool, long walks, or meditation. My goodness, of course, meditation. If you can do those things, if you can put yourself in that meditative state, and now this is an air card as well. So, I have two air cards here. So we're talking, breath, releasing, letting go. And just focusing on what you want. Focus on the big picture. Okay, I'll be right back with week 4. Okay, this spread covers April 19th through the 25th. And the theme for the week is the Lover's card here. And this card is about making a choice. There's some big decision that's up. It could be about a love relationship, but it could very well just as equally be about a project relationship, a contract, because we have like the traveling card before it. Maybe there's something to do with big decisions about coming home from somewhere. Maybe some of you have been traveling even from another country. And there's a, big decision. You want to make sure that it's not something that you'll, be in a heartache about later on. So it's a very, very big decision. But it's the best way to deal with the big decisions are to tune into your heart and tune into your core, your whole inner being, and make your decision from there. But go slow. That's especially true for this week because of the Four of Pentacles, and I swear I shuffled the shellac out of this deck before I drew the cards. So it's interesting that we have the same card in the same position again. So we're still in the place here in this week. I would say that what's going on is you're still in the place where you're being very careful with your resources. And because you want to make sure that you're able to move ahead into the unknown. This card is all about the unknown, and it does sometimes relate to travel. But on a more of a deeper level, we could look at it as being letting go of emotional baggage. You can look at the water here, the ocean, as being emotional, and we've got the baggage here. And there's a saying, and have found it to be true, that you can travel, but you're going to take your troubles with you. You're going to take them with you when you go, and they're going to be with you when you come home. So facing your troubles is always the way to go. But I'm thinking that this is more of not bringing, if there's an opportunity for a new relationship or a deeper commitment with someone that you're already, devoted to, this would have to do with releasing the past. It could relate on, if we look at it just purely from a love relationship level, this could be saying that you've been holding on to something that you thought would keep you safe, and it's time to let it go and just move forward to smoother waters and to trust your heart. But, me being the old lady I am at this point in my life, I'm here to say that if you go slow and take your time and make sure that you can trust the person that you are thinking of committing to, that's always the way to go. The challenge is when we impulsively jump into something. Although I don't see any impulsive cards here. There's a lot of energy towards the end of the week, but it's a different type. It's more of, like having fun and playing games. But struggling to keep your heart open could be a message here. But again, I really feel like this has to do with relationships where in the past you're still holding on to something that you need to let go of so that you can open your heart at a whole new level and not be, in a place where you're going to betray yourself again. And that may be the question, like, could this happen again? Is this person trustworthy? Is this, if it's a business relationship, is this the right, should I get in bed with these people, right? And, it wouldn't hurt to, no matter what the situation is, whether it's love or work or, contract type of a thing, it wouldn't hurt to just, go somewhere where you're safe and scream into a pillow, get it out, whatever it was from the past, get it out so that it doesn't, so you don't have to be, keep playing with it in the future. Because the task for each one of us is to just struggle to keep our heart open and love ourselves through all the difficult, challenges that life may bring. And that if we're struggling in a relationship and it's not working out and you've been struggling for a long time, maybe it's time to just kind of, drop all the games, just make the decision to not struggle with it anymore, and that you want to be in a more of a free-flowing, healthy place coming from healthy boundaries where you can freely flow with your love and have a different experience. So this week may very well be about really getting in touch with ways in the past where you didn't speak up, didn't ask questions, and maybe betrayed yourself from coming from the perspective of getting lost in the just the state of love that it's easy to do. And this time there's the task to slow down and face any pain, any heartache, any broken heart from the past. Or, maybe it's the type of situation where you feel like you weren't as good, to your loved one, to your lover as you could have been, and you're feeling a little heartache around that, and maybe you have to go back and clean it up, maybe you have to say you're sorry or try to create a whole new way of being, like being in it. These cards have a very different flavor together, so you're going to have to just let me know how it played out for you for the week, and then we'll go from there, because it could be very different for each one of you, and I'm very interested to hear. I love comments. Okay, I'll be right back with week 4. Okay, I made a mistake. I said I would be back for week 4. We were already on week 4. This spread will cover April 26th through May 2nd, through the beginning of next month. And oh, and I forgot to tell you that I'm using the Light Seers Tarot. Here, let me see if I can get this into frame. Yeah, by Chris Ann. Okay. And so for this week, I love these cards. Looks like much easier week. The focus is on our abundance. It's on the luxuries that we have in our lives. We've overcome some obstacle here, and we're in a place of either self-recognition or receiving recognition from your work, your family members, anyone in your life that is patting you on the back. I always advise to pat yourself on the back too, which is sometimes hard to do. So, but often very necessary to honor your accomplishments. But this carry through the entire week, it looks to me like it's much more open and more filled with the ability to expand. You see how she's got dice around her neck up here? This is, of course, the Wheel of Fortune. And this is an expansive state. If you can stay centered, and be at the top, you're at the top of your game, can you be at the top without losing balance? That's always the task, right? So opening up to all the universe has to offer, all the wonderful opportunities, that are always there to seek. We just have to, look for them often. But it looks to me like you've already been working on them and looking for them, and now you're at the top of your game. It's a good, place to be. And so like I said, stay balanced within it. Devote yourself to what you have already and take good care of it. I believe there'll be lots of opportunities to enjoy what you have created. And then later on in the week, there's a place where you're going to let go of anything that has been painful. This can be sometimes the card of, like the dark night of the soul. It can be the card of painful endings. But based on the cards that we had last week, I am venturing to guess that you guys have you're doing the work, or you've already done the work to let go of the worry. And you're more focused on all of the ways that you can work within, all the resources that you have, and you can bring that into your work. Or if it's not actual literal, a literal job where you're paid, it's your craft. It's something that you're building. This is the card, the Eight of Pentacles, has to do with internships and apprenticeships. It's all about research, working on it, creating, trying it again, like, oh, this didn't work, I just have to start over, but I'm going to try it with this formula over here, and I'm going to look for some new recipes. This is also the card for, whipping up some wonderful, meal. Most people don't look at it that way, but it comes up that way when you're looking at recipes. So there's that. So ingredients, resources, fresh information, new ways of working on something that you've been working on for quite a long time. But so anything that would keep you from, moving forward into what it is that you're really wanting to work on would be the best thing to do. This card is all about releasing, right? She's walking away from what has been painful, what is no longer working, and she's moving ahead to a bright, bright, bright future. She's moving forward to a bright future. And, the light is on her path. She's walking the light. So that's a wonderful, wonderful way to end the month. And again, feel free to leave comments and let me know how it played out for you, and I'd love to hear. And if you liked the videos, please like, and please subscribe. Okay, we'll talk to you, or I'll be back the end of the month for May's readings. Okay, bye-bye.